for your wonderful experience. और मुझे लगता है अभी भी हमारी भूख कम नहीं हुई है, and we would like to hear more from Dena. So for this, we have a lot of questions where Madhuri ma'am specially will represent that from our side, because she read the book and she was highly impressed after reading that book, and she has a list of questions. So let us enjoy this discussion between Madhuri ji and Dena ji to understand more about what she really written in the book.
Once I read Dena ji's book, I came to know yes. But even then, there are few questions which rose in my mind, and I am taking the opportunity of this dais to ask Dena ji the questions, so that whatever is in my mind, it will be pacified, and you will also get, I think, the benefit out of it. So first question, Dena ji, it is, where did you find this new Sita?
She appeared to me. People often ask me how, and I don't really have an answer. I've been a long-time meditator. I do a lot of meditation, and I find the answers to most of my problems through meditation. And I also find myself sometimes going back in time into my own past history in my meditations. And then I was very surprised when Patraji called me and said he had found the book and wanted to share it. And I said, please do. If there are those who resonate with my experience of Sita, please share it. I learned a lot. As I said before, I was transformed. I felt that Sita is continually teaching me. And one of the things I wanted to say is that Sita is a living presence, as is Ram. And she is very active today, individually in our lives and collectively. And we have to start thinking of Ram and Sita, and of course all the devatas, as being active on the world scene. We can't see what's going on behind the visible world, but also in our lives. There are many instances where karma is dissolved through aligning oneself with the energy of Sita, seeking her guidance. If that's the one message that can come through, is that she is an active presence and can guide us through all of our difficulties.
Thank you. So, the main motto of our meditation, so if we look within, I think, we will also someday will get Rama or Sita or Shiva or Shakti. So let us start searching. Second question to you. What motivated you to sketch Sita in this book as a cool environmentalist?
She may have been the first environmentalist. Sita, the thing that came through to me was Sita's love. And love is not an emotion, it's a state of being. And at that high level, love just pours out of one. Her love for the animal world, her love for the plant life. And there are many instances in the book where she guides the animal world and the plant life. And she's very perceptive. The river, she calls the river her daughter, because she saw the deities in the river. And I remember the time when she was a child and one of the ox had fallen into the river and drowned. She goes to the river and scolds her. But the goddess rises up and says, this is what the ox did. It was his time to move on. Seeing the whole continuum of life, looking at the bigger picture, we have to step back and look at all of life as being part of us and being interconnected. And when we rise into that state of love, then we become like Sita, and we can pour that love into everything and everybody who comes our way.
So nice. And really, Sita, in this book, if you have not read, please purchase a book and read. We have heard till now that because of Sita, all the things happened. Sita was not courageous. Sita was very scared of, and that is why she started shouting when Ravana took her and all these things. And because of that, only all these things happened. Will you please elaborate? Because once we read the book, we got a message that Sita was not scared of anything. She was a very courageous lady. So Will you please elaborate that point? Will you please throw the light on how she is a courageous lady?
There's nothing in this universe that could have frightened Narayani, Sita. She was the Supreme Mother, and she willingly went into Lanka to do the work that needed to be done. Ram did the outer work, and she did the inner work. And when she was in Lanka, she had to go into all the hell realms of Ravana's mind to find him, to reach him, to touch his soul. And she did. She went through all those dark realms that he was inhabiting in order to counter him. Her battle, she had a battle with Ravan that was every bit as difficult as the outer battle. And that's where she and Ram worked hand in hand, him on the outer field, her on the inner field. And in total balance and partnership. The partnership between Ram and Sita, to me, was so beautiful and is a model for us today, because every step they took was in unison. I mean, I believe she knew that she had to go into Lanka, but hid it from Ram so that he would not try to stop her. That was her courage. She knew that she had to go in, and she had to go in alone. But she took it on willingly, because in order to not only save their beloved devotee who had fallen into delusion, but to spare the world the torment that Ravana was inflicting on the world. That had to be done. And she took it up willingly. And when she retreats to the forest to connect with the animals and the plant life, to give them that before they had to come back and wield the kingdom.
So nice, so nice. Really, this courage, even now also, हम भी इस जमाने में देखते हैं कि ये करेज कहीं ना कहीं हमारे अंदर में भी बहुत कम होता जा रहा है. सीता का जो करेज दिखाया है इस किताब में, वो बुराई के साथ मन की लड़ाई. घर में अगर कोई गेस्ट आने वाले हैं, माँ ने खाना बना करके रखा है, बोला है गुलाब जामुन को हाथ नहीं लगाना, फिर भी हम लोग जा करके चुपके से उसमें से एक गुलाब जामुन लेकर के खा लेते हैं. फॉरगेट अबाउट अदर थिंग्स. बाकी तो करप्शन, ये तो छोटी सी बात मैंने बताई, इस पर भी हमारा कंट्रोल नहीं है. बाकी दुनिया में कितनी सारी चीजें होती हैं कि हम अपना मन का कंट्रोल आपा खो जाते हैं, चाहे वो गुस्से में हो, चाहे वो बाकी मटेरियलिस्टिक अप्रोच में हो, या अन्य अन्य अपने बिहेवियर के बारे में, एंगर के बारे में हो. सीता ने रावण के साथ जाने का डिसीजन इसीलिए लिया, ये किताब में लिखा है देना जी ने, ताकि रावण के मन के अंदर की जो काली माँ थी, जो बुरे विचार थे, वो नष्ट करना बहुत जरूरी था. अगर वो नष्ट नहीं किया होता तो हो सकता था कि नया जन्म जो रावण का हो जाएगा, क्योंकि जब तक बुरी नहीं होती, खत्म नहीं हो जाती, उसको मोक्ष नहीं मिलना था. मोक्ष नहीं मिलेगा तो वो जो जय करके बाहर आया था, जय विजय में से जय था वो जो आया था उसको वहां पर जाना मुश्किल होता था. तो उसकी बुराई कैसे खत्म होगी? राम तो शरीर से उसका वध करेगा, लेकिन मन की बुराई कैसे खत्म होगी? और इसीलिए सीता ने और राम ने, जो देना जी ने बोला, यूनिसन में सोच विचार करके सीता ने ले लिया कि मैं जाऊंगी अंदर, और मैं उसके अंदर तक जा करके, अंदर तक जाना माने उसके पास में रहना है, और उसके आसपास का सारा जो मन का जहां पर उसका है, उसके अंदर जा करके वहां से वो निगेटिविटी जो है वो बाहर लानी है. और ये करेज जो दिखाता है, ये बहुत बड़ा करेज है. और इसीलिए ये कभी पॉइंट हमारे सामने में, हमारे जितने भी स्क्रिप्चर्स है उसमें कहीं लिखा नहीं है. इट इज सो अनफॉर्चुनेट कि इन आवर स्क्रिप्चर्स दीज थिंग्स आर नॉट रिटन. इट्स नाउ टाइम, आई थिंक, दोज हु नो संस्कृत, प्लीज start writing new Sita in Sanskrit, so that in the future we will proudly say that yes, along with this one is also one more Sita. Read this also. A mother and a daughter duo is attacked by few gundas while going to the ashram, and for personal vigilance those gundas, they physically attack that lady, that girl especially. And Shri Rama says to Sita at that time, we could not stop Ravana from creating new destructive ideas. That is after, I think, Ravana's death. Sita was with Lavakusha in the forest. That time this incident has happened. And Ram came to meet Sita, and he told that we could not stop Ravana to create such type of negativities, destructive ideas and spreading them among the society, like controlling Mother Nature, controlling the women folk. These are the signs of future dark era, that is Kali Yuga, which we are facing. And when I read this, immediately Nirbhaya case came into my mind actually. Or like Nirbhaya, there are many cases. They came in front of my eyes actually. And that is why I wanted to ask her this question. But if we create good thoughts and set example in front of the society now, these good thoughts will also grow in dark era to negate the negativity and dark era, and will create the positive force to eradicate negativity or darkness from the society. That is what is mentioned in the book. I want that, Denaji, if you throw a little bit light on this type of...
That's a very important point, because we are all part of the collective, and our thoughts add either to the light or to the darkness. And when you see all of the negative energy being put into the collective, the violence in the media reflects itself, violence in society. You have people who are writing about the future as a dystopian future. Well, we should not let these people take control. We are creating the future. We are the creators. We create our personal future through our choices that we make. And the more conscious we are, the more consciously we create our personal future, and we are part of the collective. And so the more we can put in thoughts of love, of care, of compassion, care for each other, care for the natural world, the more that builds a positive collective. And so Indrashji mentioned responsibility. That's a concept that's been lost in the modern world, our responsibility. Our responsibility in society, our responsibility to the collective, not just by our actions, but our thoughts. Are we bringing more love into the world? Are we bringing more care and compassion? Every day we have thoughts that go through our mind. Every day we act in a way that either harms or hurts the environment. And so I think to begin to live more consciously and to ensure that we're adding to the light and not to the darkness, that's one of the messages I got from this book, because Sita and Ram were continually bringing light into the collective, countering all the darkness that Ravana, and we have Ravanas in the world today, other scoundrels who are creating divisions and conflict and degradation of the planet. That dark force is an ongoing story. And it's a continual battle between the Devas and the Asuras. That story is an eternal one. And so what role are we going to play in that story? Are we going to strengthen the force of the Devas, the Devatas, and bring more light into the world? It's something we all need to reflect on and think about our own responsibility toward bringing more light into the world.
One more, while reading the book, one point I found it very interesting. That is the similarity between the First Lady concept. Generally, First Lady concept we understand in USA. The President's wife is First Lady. The same thing is in our armed forces also. The First Lady is Commander's wife is of that commanding station and all. The same concept I found in the book, though it is not written there, First Lady or something like that, but it is narrated in the book that Sita's behavior, the story, if you read the book, you will come to know the references, whatever I am giving. When the tigress came to to Sita for solace, and she avoided her for 3 days, making her realize that that she has done some mistake. And then she takes action. She console her, and then went to the village and visit the house whose son is killed by that tigress. But while going there, though she was staying in the forest, very simple life, just valkal means plain clothes. But while going there, she took out the Rani's clothes, queen's clothes, completely adorned, like a Rani and then went there. So will you please?
She was representing the kingdom, and one of the qualities that the Maharani cared, representing the Maharaja as well, cared about what happened in that little forest village that a boy was killed accidentally, through this misunderstanding between the animal kingdom and the human kingdom. And she was very concerned that this separation between the human and animal worlds was growing. And she was trying to embed love for the animal kingdom in humanity, in that collective. But she wanted that family to see that she was coming as the Maharani. She was coming in that role to show the display of care from the royal family. And that was an important message, because that's what we wish for today. We wish that all of our leaders truly put our welfare, the welfare of each one of the citizens, as the highest goal. That's the model that we aspire for. That's what we want to bring back. That kind of Dharma King.
So, do we need to tell them? Do we need to go and inform them their rights, not rights, duties?
I think that it depends on the consciousness, and sometimes you have a president and first lady who really do care, and at other times they're there for the power or for more selfish reasons. So I think it varies greatly. And of course, some first ladies do a lot of humanitarian work, and they go to places that are troubled, and they do that. But the quality of love shown by Sita was of a totally different nature. And I think is something to aspire for. I'd like to read just a closing paragraph from the book. This is the book is told through the story of a servant working in Janak Baba's household. She comes with Sita to Ayodhya, and then she dies, and she's reborn in Ayodhya, and is searching for what really happened to Sita. She died before Sita returned, and she couldn't believe the story of Lanka, so she finds the aged attendant of Sita, Soma, and she travels to see her, and it's Soma who tells her much of the story. But at the end, after they've been together a few days, she said about Ram and Sita, they are near and dear, and they care for each one of us as if we were their child, because in fact, we are. I have come to know Mata, that's what she called Sita, and Sri Ram much better since their departure from this physical world. Departure is not accurate. It is not the correct term, because they never left. Yeah. But our language is so limited. Mata once told me that words will never replace the way we used to converse through images, through thought. Now we are reduced to words. Mata and Sri Ram are as active today as ever. When she was before me in her physical form, that is what I saw. That is what I knew. That was who she was to me. Now I see the reality of who she is, of what both of them are, and I see their hand in everything that transpires in this world.
आप भी आइए, और जिनको आप बुलाना चाहें, आपको अनुमति है. आप इनविटेशन को एक्सटेंड कर सकते हैं.